Whoa. All right. As you can see, I got a fresh E-Ride Pro in at the shop, and today I got to get this bike set up. I've set up several of these bikes already, and I've noticed a couple quirks along the way. So today I thought it would be a great opportunity to have you guys come along so I can point out a few key things along the way so that you have a successful bike build. And this isn't just applicable for those who are just now unboxing their E-Ride Pro. If you already got your E-Ride Pro together and running, there's some great tips in here that I think you should know that will help you out. Okay, so tip number one that I have for you guys, and this is only applicable if you're just setting up your bike for the first time, but make sure you find your E-Ride Pro computer screen. It's in the accessory box in a small packaged container. Pull it out, and what you're going to notice is that the clamp only has one set of screws, so you can't remove the clamp and mount this separately from the bars. You actually have to slide the screen over the end of the bars and into the center of the bars here before you install it onto the stem. So I got to go ahead and loosen this up to get it positioned. Okay, so second tip that I have for you guys is I like to pull both bolts for the rear shock completely off and dab these with a little bit of grease. That way when you go to install the rear shock, it's nice and lubricated, ready to go. Okay, so next we're gonna get the front tire installed. Be sure to find your left and right wheel hub spacers. They come zip tied on the spoke of your front wheel. They're super easy to put in. You just place them on to the wheel hub on the left and right side. But before you install your front wheel, this leads me to my next critical tip. What you're gonna wanna do is do a visual inspection of your tire to see if there is any potential bulging on your sidewall of your tire. I've had a couple of these bikes come to me with a little bit of bulging and a twisted tube. So the trick, if you do find that on your front wheel, just go ahead and deflate it, move the tire around, and then reinflate the tire to get that bead to seat evenly around the rim. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get this installed. This one looks really good. All right, so we got our front tire installed. The next tip that I have for you is brakes. So out of the box, it's going to be highly unlikely that your brake calipers are perfectly aligned to your rotors. So one quick way to test to see if your brake caliper is aligned to your rotor is to simply spin the wheel just like this. So make sure you have your bike up on a stand. And if you notice any excessive rubbing on the brake pads at any point during the rotation of the tire, you're going to have to adjust your front caliper. If you don't adjust this is going to prematurely wear your brake pads and reduce your brake pad life. This is super simple to do. All that you're going to do is loosen this top bolt and this bottom bolt. And make a slight adjustment to the left or right, just like this. You can then test and see how the clearance is by making very minor adjustments. And then you're going to want to hold the caliper in place after you find the right spot. It might take a little bit, so have a little patience with this and take your time doing it so that you get it aligned correctly. I just am now spinning the tire and there's absolutely no pad contact. That means that I got it set just right where it needs to be. So be sure to also check your rear brake caliper as well. Simply spin the tire by hand with the bike up on a stand, and you should be able to hear if there's any excessive rubbing. This one should be pretty close out of the box. I haven't had to adjust too many of these, but just double check it to make sure that it's set correctly. Okay, so we got the bike all the way put together. Before we get the battery installed, before we go out and ride this bike, we're gonna go through and torque all the hardware down to spec. This is my last tip for you guys. Get a torque wrench This one that I have right here is a 1/4-inch torque wrench that goes from 6 Newton meters all the way up to 24 Newton meters. This is a very standard tool that's used in the mountain bike industry, and it's applicable and suitable for your E-Moto, your Talaria, your Sur-Ron, and your E-Ride Pro. Typically with your handlebar stem and your fork tube axle clamps, you're going to be torquing this down to about 6 Newton meters, but it's going to depend on the specs that your manufacturer has in the manual. So if you don't know what the torque specs are for certain pieces of hardware on your machine, make sure you go to your manufacturer's website and download that torque spec sheet. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.
That was the wildest Henderson Flats ride of all time, I think.
Isn't that awesome?